is Nilesh Vora. I'm the coordinator for West Zone for CYW. Today, I have the privilege of introducing Mr. Parikshit Pawar from Shapoorji Palonji Real Estate. He's the Senior Vice President of and Head of Marketing at Shapoorji and Palonji Real Estate. He looks at the entire marketing strategy, including product and brand management, digital marketing, brand promotions, and media planning. He's worked with leading real estate companies, banks, steel companies in his career of more than 15 years. He's also a Master's of Business Administration from SPJ Institute of Management and Research. Another thing that I would like to put in here is that SPRE launched a project recently in Pune, and they were able to sell about, I think, if I'm not wrong, about 800 units in less than a month or 2 months, and we couldn't believe it. So we checked the IGR data, and it all matched up. So congratulations. What was interesting about that launch is that I live close to that project, and I didn't see one hoarding. And we were all amazed as to how you did it, and we'd like to know more about that as well. So welcome, Mr. Pawar. I hope you can address your thing.
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And I would, at the onset, thank the entire Credai team for giving me this opportunity. And thank you so much for your kind words about the sale. But there is a large armory which is at the back end who has made that possible. When we were talking, my first question was, what is the kind of target group that I'm addressing to? And I was told that there is small and medium scale developers that would be attending this. And that's why I thought the best topic would be to give them a preview of the entire marketing framework and give them a preview as to how a large developer kind of typically functions. The other bit is that there is a very strong notion, or rather a myth that I would like to break today, is that marketing is typically equated to communication. Okay, and I would show you the entire marketing framework today. You will understand that it goes far beyond communication, and communication is just one end output that the end user sees. Okay, so if you allow me, I'll quickly share my screen. Just a minute. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll quickly jump to the broad marketing framework that I have kind of put together. It starts with the overall piece, which is the brand. The thought is you start macro, then you kind of drill down micro. Okay, from brand, it traverses to product. From product, once the product is finalized, then you move to communication. Okay, how do you kind of communicate that? Then you set up a very robust distribution channel, and then that moves to sales closure, offers, all those things, ultimately building communities. And surrounding all this is a very strong, robust CRM. Okay, while I'm talking this right now, I'm sure that you will not get a fair understanding in the first slide. What I have done is that I have taken real life examples so that the content is more relatable to you guys. Okay, and I will drill down into each one of these. First is the brand strategy piece. Now, typically what happens is that, in my experience, as you rightly said, 800 units sold, 1,000 units sold. I mean, as marketers can really get carried away and think that we are the primary reason to kind of for this, or a main catalyst in this. But here what happens, real estate is such an involved purchase that they don't buy into products. Okay, they buy into brands. Okay, so investing in very strong branding at a parent brand level. Okay, when I say parent brand level, SP is the franchise, SPRE, okay, is the platform that we have created. Under SPRE, then comes your Visinia, then comes Vanaha, then comes Joywheel, all these things. Okay, but when you ask a consumer what exactly he's buying into, he will always say it is SP. Okay, so it is important that you put your brand attributes loud and clear, because that is what they are buying into. Okay, this is one of the creatives that I have put, is which reads, "A promise is a promise. Words we lived by since 1865." If you look at what are the attributes that as a brand I want to communicate. Okay, one, I am a very transparent guy. I am very high on commitment, and I have experience of over 150 years. Okay, so if I had to culminate all this into one creative, this is how it kind of looks. Okay, any market, when any new market, when we typically enter, like when we entered Delhi, okay, there was, what we realized is there's a lot of mistrust there, as developer communities have taken people for a ride. Okay, when we entered Delhi, nobody knew about us. We did a lot of branding at a parent brand level, okay, which is at a SPRE level, and established the tenets of SPRE. Okay, how it kind of benefited us. The moment we did that, our Google kind of search volumes went higher. Today is a digital age. Everybody kind of Google everything about us. They kind of realize that we have done like enormous amount of construction, and it is not a fly by night operator. Okay, that kind of reposed a lot of trust in the developer, not only in the developer community, channel community, but also in the entire customer community. The result was very simple. The brand was very well established, and we were the first guys to clock 500 numbers. Okay, after a break, I think DLF Magnolia had done about 400, 450 odd numbers. We kind of managed to surpass that in their own what do you say, catchment area. We went as a player from western side. We went there and we ensured that we branded the company in the right light. We kind of positioned our achievements in the right this, because that is what the market needed. Okay, so this is the first aspect of any marketing framework. Okay, where you kind of set the product brand level, mother brand very well. Okay, the other bit is having a very diverse portfolio. We as developers ensure that we have multiple level exposure. Okay, I know that at a mid size and a small size level it is difficult. Okay, but the journey from small to mid and the mid to large, you ensure that you kind of diversify your portfolio. We are present in mass housing, we are present in aspirational housing, we are present in premium housing, we are also present in luxury housing. Soon, in the near future, we will venture into uber luxury housing. Okay, now what this kind of does is throws up two challenges. There is one brand which is kind of across these categories. Okay, so you have to ensure, while these platforms have individual identities, they all kind of are different yet together, which is under the SP fabric. Okay, in our case, when I say that, so you have to ensure that while you will have individual products, individual categories, ultimately it all should blend together into one umbrella. Okay, the other aspect is when I say defining the second bit, if you look at the earlier part where I said brand, establishing a very strong brand, within brands there are sub brands. When I say sub platforms, aspirational, all that, we kind of tackle that in this. Then I come to the product. Okay, once the typically in a launch cycle, whenever we get into any kind of product launches, this is a typical framework. We typically establish the brand, then I move to the product bit. Now, at the heart of any branding or product strategy is your core product. Okay, now why is that so? Okay, most of the times we often see, especially in real estate, we expect a lot from just a pure play marketing campaign. Okay, however, the order should be reversed. First, you get your product right, and automatically the communication will be right. Okay, but unfortunately, most developers kind of make it gimmicky and only focus on the communication aspect, and because of which not many are able to differentiate their offering. Okay, so I'll just quickly take one example over here of Hadapsar, the project that you referred to. We sold about 800 odd units over there. Now, when we entered the market, what we did was that we created a very robust research framework, approached people in the nearby catchment area. we realized that a lot of 60% of our audience will be from the IT belt and 40% would be nearby area. Okay. The IT belt, typically when we approach, we realize that they most of them come from smaller towns. The kind of lifestyle they have had is open fields, probably explored games in a more open format. Okay. Whereas today both husband wife are working, not able to dedicate much time to kids. Kids are kind of, are they, as we say, we call them indoor generation kids. They are mainly happy being indoors, sticking to their playstations or video games, uh, and they are not able to venture out. Okay, so that came out as a very strong insight. We based the entire product where we focused on having a very large, about 18-20 odd acres of open podium. Okay, which was more uninterrupted, which the amenities were all focused on having openness. Okay, the idea was to get the kids back to the playground. Okay, that is the kind of framework we had. Basis on this insight, the same thing kind of fed into the architect's brief, that kind of transpired into a winning product. Okay, so after, once we had this kind of a product ready, the job as a marketer became fairly simple, because now you have to take that story and sell that story. If I didn't have this, okay, probably I would have tried looking at some kind of a USP which is not there. I would have tried to fabricate or be very superficial at a certain level. Okay. However, if you have a strong product, the marketing aspect becomes fairly easier. Okay. I'll just now, as I said, once the product is established, I will talk about the communication methodology. Uh, in the communication, this now I purposely taken the same example. In communication, there are two aspects. One is product. Second is a need-based communication, which is more offer-driven. Okay. First, I will talk about the same product, Manjari. How do we kind of position that and went externally in the marketing, went ahead in marketing that. Now, if you look at these varied creatives, the one more insight that came out very strongly is that parents, especially mothers, are very protective today. When we talk about this indoor generation, when they go out, mother is very worried that they should not fall. They ensure that everything is well padded. They will only play in play areas which is all cushioned, all those things. Okay, so we thought that when we go out externally, and when we have to ensure that we get noticed, we thought that we'll make very bold statements. And that's why we said that some of the lines led like ab chot lagne do. Okay, typically mothers are very very concerned, saying that okay fine, as a brand we said that that is how people grow, that is how humans grow, and that is how kids grow. Okay, kids are kids, let them grow that way. Okay, so in today's day and age, being overprotective has its own negative side. Okay, so that's why not many people would have tried doing such things. But we thought that whenever our endeavor is that whenever we go in a market, we try to break the conventional norms. Okay, try doing something differently. Okay, that's why most of the things which are told not to do, we have ensured that we have added that. Like as we have shown kids playing in mud, kids falling down, kids getting wet in rain. The idea is that you get your kids back to the playground just the way your parents allowed you to explore yourself. This development will ensure that they will kind of shape up the in best possible way if you let them explore. Okay, so that's how I wanted to show what the product was and how we kind of positioned it. Apart from in the communication aspect, there is one more aspect which is more niche based, which is offer driven. Okay, I have taken an example of your pandemic. When the pandemic hit, immediately within 25 days, we kind of came back with the umbrella campaign across 14 odd projects that we had. Okay, the campaign was captioned certainty in uncertain times. Now, having offer driven communication, what matters is on the relevancy curve, it has to be at the top level. Okay, and why am I saying that? If the offer is relevant at that time, it kind of creates an empathy factor and the content is more relatable. Okay, within first 20 days of the lockdown, we kind of did a small dipstick of people in and around, and we realized that in the initial 5-6 days people were confused as to how long this will last. Say in this in the after 10-15 days, okay, they kind of got comfortable with the style of working. They kind of figured out ways. After that, okay, it lasted further. Okay, at that time what happened is that the so-called millennial generation, which always believed that we don't need to own assets, or when I say assets, mainly real estate as an asset, suddenly realized that the kind of protection a home gives, okay, nothing is able to give that. And we kind of carved out a campaign which kind of was very relevant for that times. And that's why if you see, these are targeted at different sets of people. Here on the left hand side is an investor, where he's saying that a home is more than an investment. There is a couple over here we have shown, which kind of states that the only preventive measure today against COVID-19 is your own home. Okay, so invest in a home. If you see at the bottom over here, the offers that we have taken, they are all relevant to that times. When I say 100% cancelable booking, okay, stamp duty waiver, price protection. There was a fear in the research. It cropped up that a lot of people are saying the prices are going to fall further. So we ensured that we offer price protection, and there were a host of other things. Okay, so my point is that having offer based communication, the single rule is that be very relevant when you are communicating a certain offer. Okay, so if the to give another example, if you have a ready possession house, okay, or a building or a development, you ensure that when you are coming up with an offer, probably you ease them into the purchase decision. Despite of this being a ready possession apartment, you can probably come, stay, and pay after 2 years. Okay, the moment I give you such an offer, it becomes more relevant. Okay, so that is the point I was trying to establish. uh, Moving to the next bit is having a just a minute. Okay, sorry, 1 minute. Okay, after a particular product and communication is established, I move to the media mix. Now when you look at the mix, typically today, okay, after the pandemic, I've given multiple interviews, I have been approached by multiple people, and there is a lot of talk on two things. Okay, one is this the new normal? Is commercial asset kind of going to vanish? And the second big thing is that now that people have moved to digital, now that people are comfortable with digital, will ATL vanish from your marketing mix? Okay, however, what I feel that it is both these philosophies are very drastic. Okay, for any behavioral change to happen, it takes about 8 to 10 years, and then you see the actual impact. Now, if you look at this wagon wheel, we have multiple things. Okay, uh, when I in any kind of marketing launch, especially when we do, the initial aspect is very heavy on ATL. Okay, when I say ATL, it's mainly print and outdoor. Okay, why do I do that? Okay, the kind of visibility that I get through print and outdoor, a digital, I while I get a very large reach, but as real estate players, my entire show is in that micro catchment area. The best way to get noticed is doing large format press ads, being very heavy on hoardings and all that. Okay, in that again we give a lot of importance to innovation, which I will come visit later. Now, if I look at just a minute, it's very hot. 1 minute. Okay, sorry. So when we typically look at this entire wagon wheel, uh, as I earlier said, that I will focus a lot on the ATL aspect when I enter the market, purely from a brand saliency perspective. Okay, how do I kind of support that? I support with digital. As a marketing head, what I ensure is that I use digital mainly as a performance medium. I don't typically use digital for brand saliency. I'm not saying that it is right or wrong, but that is the philosophy we use. Okay, because the beauty of digital is that I'm able to track everything. Okay, so that particular aspect we use for performance marketing. uh, as I earlier said, ATL and the digital forms or BTL aspects, you cannot look at them in individual silos. You have to ensure that that kind of comes together. The moment I do a lot of surround on the ATL format, okay, my search volumes on Google go up. Okay, and that kind of, I have to ensure that I'm present bidding for my keywords on Google at that time. If I don't do that, then the search volumes on Google are pretty low. So that's why, again, you have to not look at it in isolation. You have to ensure that you look at it together. Okay, the other aspect is that what digital allows me to do is that it also ensures that how we can target, how we can go in a hyper local kind of a way. I'll give you an example for that. There is a feature on Google which is called geofencing. Okay, where we use that geofencing aspect, especially for when we have a very large outdoor campaign. What typically happens is that we geofence some of our key hoardings. Okay, so as a person driving the car, if you see that particular hoarding and you pass that hoarding, okay, because we have geofenced that area, you will start seeing our ads online as well. Okay, and this is how it beautifully dovetails into the large format advertising. Okay, and it is important to look at this as yin and yang. Otherwise you will not get the best of both worlds in, if you look at them in silos. Okay, there are other things that we do for performance. Okay, I typically do a lot of, I started with a lot of programmatic. Now we have started doing individual campaigns at a Facebook and Google level. If you ask me, between Google and Facebook, off lately, considering my post-pandemic, my spends on the ATL formats are lesser. Facebook is performing slightly better than Google. Okay, and I'm able to milk that audience fully, whereas Google is slightly lagging behind. However, Google has now started their discovery feature, which is matching up to the kind of algorithm Facebook has. Okay, so we are kind of doing a mix and match of that. However, Facebook still is a medium which is giving me maximum returns, I would say. Uh, Facebook also has these very nice tools. I guess some of you all must be knowing. For those who don't know, I'll just kind of briefly touch upon. Okay, one is lookalike marketing. Now, what we do with lookalike marketing is I take a certain set of audiences, okay, which I would like to replicate online. The Facebook algorithm will actually give me that benefit, and I will ensure that if I have a certain people walking into my site and I want similar people on Facebook algorithm actually gives me that liberty. The second aspect is remarketing. Most of the times I have a lot of walk-ins, okay, and probably I get a 10% conversion. The remaining 90%, okay, we ensure that we remarket them through Facebook. What happens is that, and this is the automated feature, the moment you come to my site or you come to my website and go back, what happens from a consumer point of view is that if you come to my website, I will plant a cookie in your browser, so that the next time you visit online, you'll start getting my ads. Okay, at the same time, if you visited my site, go back, we'll ensure that we target you digitally. So the typical for the end user, he's not aware. For him, suddenly he starts seeing you everywhere. And pure quantitative techniques have told us that if we are able to do this, the chances of that person converting is higher by 10 to 15%. Okay, so this is something we use pretty frequently. The other over here is influencers. As I have been here for 4 years now, I have seen that the trend is very visible, that the buyer is getting younger by the day. Okay, so platforms like Instagram are quickly grabbing a lot of attention. Influencers are suddenly the new celebrities. Okay. However, we are currently not looking at individual influencers for our products. Okay, because that could backfire. We are looking at platform level alliances. Okay, like a TVAF or like a AIB. I mean, to give you some examples, or probably some regional channels, and then we will do co-created content and float that externally. Okay, so that is something we do. This is on the marketing mix front. Apart from this, there are certain aspects which we do externally. I will quickly touch upon that as well. Sorry, I'm just going slightly fast because the time is slightly crunched. then there is a when once I have the entire communication methodology or framework in place, I've selected the media. The other important aspect is the distribution. Okay, now the first tier over here is the basic one. Most of the guys operate direct sales and channel partner. Okay, the large developers typically have a very large network. When I say there is an NRI team, there is a cross sale team across different regions. There is a corporate vertical setup. There is a alliance vertical setup. So what happens is that there are see, if the product is easy, it sells like this. Okay, if the pricing is slightly premium, okay, if the product is a tough sell, that is when your key distribution really matters. Okay, now you might think that probably as a large developer it is very easy to talk about these fancy terms, distribution and all those things. Okay, however, now as a smaller developer, as a mid-sized developer, you there are options where you can partner with people, with partners who have a very large distribution, and they kind of master this distribution. They have launched multiple projects, and because of which they have this very robust distribution system. Probably at a small and mid-sized level, you can ensure that you tie up with such people so that you get a length and breadth in your distribution channel. Okay, the other interesting aspect that we are now started doing, and a lot of other developers are also doing, large developers, is that there are partners who are conventional partners, which are conventional channel partners, and there are partners who are not conventional, but you create partners. Okay, new partners. What are those channels? Like to give you a best example, in one of our developments, we have a CA. Okay, who was earlier a resident, then became a full-time broker. Okay, he is one of the largest performing channel partner in that entire development. And when I say largest performing, his brokerage runs in probably crores. Okay, the reason, okay, he has the entire kundli of that person who files the returns. So with him, he has a certain relationship, certain comfort. He exactly knows when to park funds. How do I do it? So when that person kind of interacted with us initially, we kind of gauged that this relationship can have multiple dimensions which we can further explore. Okay, in banking terminologies, it is typically called alternate delivery channels. Okay, so here it's like if I have to draw a parallel, it's an alternate channel that we kind of created, which then further merge into main channels. Okay, so as a smaller developer, you have to ensure that you look for these alternate guys. Okay, I was talking to one of a mid-sized developer who happens to be my relative, and he actually told me that like you have a conventional channel partner, his highest channel partner was actually the Lokan Panwala, who is in that micro catchment area. And I thought it's a very, very interesting analogy. I mean, when customers come there, they chit chat, and he has a relationship for about 10 years with those customers. Okay, so he was the best person to pitch in a product. All he does is pitches the product. Rest all the sales guy does. Okay, so that is how distribution, having a very robust distribution network, will really help you in the long run. This was the external distribution. Second is the internal distribution. Now, this is something most small developers don't focus on, or even when I came here, we didn't have a platform for references. Okay, we have created this platform by the name Club Benefit. Okay, it targets at purely driving referral business and loyalty business, which is repeat purchase. Now, what this offers us? Okay, prior to this platform, we were at 6% of business from this channel. Okay, as we started investing in it, today as we speak, we are at 20% in the overall pie. What is the impact of this? This is a small, very small change. These are your own customers who are happy and want to transact with you, either in form of repeat purchase or by referring their friends. What the moment I kind of invest in this channel, what it does is that it technically allows me a saving of bare minimum at least 1.5 to 2% on every booking, because this is my cheapest source of booking. Okay, so as the earlier speaker was saying, that a typical for certain developers, the spend of sourcing new business goes up as high as 10 to 11%. Okay. So that's the reason why when I look at loyalty and referral, I can actually cap it at about 1.5%. So that is the kind of saving I am getting on my portfolio. Okay. What we have done further is that this is the only platform which is also present offline, where if you go to any of my clubhouses, they will be branded as club benefit. Okay. The second bit is that we have launched an app. On the app you will have all your demands, payments, everything on that app. Okay. The last leg of this app, we are also ensuring that we go post possession like Adda does today, where he can do the clubhouse booking. He can probably have management of people coming in and out, all those things. Okay. uh, Now why are we doing this? Okay, like one very famous LIC ad said, zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi. Okay, that is what the exact aspect we wish to capture. Okay, my relation should not end at the time of possession. That is the point. I have to capitalize my relationship. Okay, and that's why we are ensuring that we have this, we kind of stretch the life cycle slightly longer so that we can milk that relationship. Okay. uh, Obviously when I do this, having a very strong product is hygiene, and that is necessity. If the product is not good, if they are not happy, you this business will not happen. But fortunately for the companies I have worked for, I have only seen a upswing in this percentage, and the percentage of referral loyalty goes as high as 30 to 35%. Okay, and I'm sure that the scale of business doesn't matter. Okay, it's the quality of product and the relationship that you have and you are able to generate over a period of time, and that is what will yield result in the long run. The other aspect is sales closure. Okay, we already have a tech platform now where you can do bookings end to end. We are trying to tie in registration aspect of it. Now most of you all will think that why are we doing this, pandemic is not here forever. But I personally feel that uh, it has helped us change the consumer behavior, and it is going to remain like that for a while. Okay. Most of the buyers are getting younger. Okay, what we realize is that these buyers, when they may not end up buying the house online end to end, but they are okay now sampling. The first meeting could be virtual. They are okay doing that. The ultimate decision will happen only on site. Okay, but what is important over here is that when you engage with the buyer online, okay, he also understands that probably you come across as a very professional organization when you, especially when you deal with a lot of NRI guys. Okay. Now, earlier we used to do basic presentations, but now we ensure that we do a proper presentation where Vertiro as a tool is used, where if he has to pay token, the token can be paid online, all those aspects. Okay. So as us, as smaller developers and mid-sized developers, probably you have to ensure that you tie up with partners who have these ready tools, and this can be turned around in 10-15 days. But this is something which will really help you in the long run. The other bit that we are trying to do is that completely go paperless, probably have digital screens, even in offline interactions, where Vertiro as a platform will be used, so that my interaction, as I earlier said, comes across very pleasant and very professional. As soon as you leave my campus, you will get a notification, we thanking you, and the entire project details will be passed on to you. Okay, so that's how tech enablement will also help you. The other bit I have already touched upon schemes, but broadly, this is our framework when we make any schemes. Three things we focus on: ease of entry, ease of mind, and ease of payment. Okay. As a developer, any scheme when I run, I ensure that I answer only one question, which is if I see the scheme, whether I will call. Okay. If the answer is no, I don't go ahead with that scheme. If the answer is yes, it really excites me, and then we ensure that we package it in the right way. Coming to building communities now, there is a reason why I have kept building communities as one section. Okay. If you look at the entire aspect of the framework, most developers end their relationship after sales closure. Okay. However, I feel that there is great amount of merit in actually investing in the relationship post possession. Okay. Because that is where the meat lies. Uh, if you are able to do that, okay, and again, as I said, heart of any marketing or branding strategy is the product. Your product has to be good. There has to be a pride in that product when he kind of lives there, when he calls his relatives. If you are able to instill that pride, your job is half done over there. What you need to ensure is that post possession there is an entire ecosystem that he requires. How best can you provide that ecosystem as a developer? Okay, if you are able to do that in your own small way, you will ensure that you stay connected with the customer. Okay, and the marketing rule, the simple marketing rule is that if you are connected, you will always be top of the mind when there is a need. Okay, our data says that typically a customer goes for his second purchase anywhere between 4 to 5 years. Okay, where his purchase kind of matures, his income grows. If you are able to selflessly be connected that long and you're able to provide the right service, you will ensure that you will benefit in the long run. The other aspect, most small developers typically don't have this. Okay, which is a very robust CRM. Now, why is a CRM important? Okay, now doing all these fancy activities, you will get a hell lot of leads. If you don't have a CRM system in place, these leads are pointless and useless. Okay, you will have to have certain rationale around that. Those leads are only good if you're able to call them immediately. Ensure that you capitalize on those leads. If I have to give you an example, the top half, okay, is a basic CRM where you say pre-sales is part of it. Lead comes in, then you move into sales, then it goes to post-sales. Okay, now if you're able to have a robust CRM, which probably things like SADC, there are other local versions also available. This what it ensures is that in a very desi term, I have the customers kundli in one go. Okay, right from the time he made his inquiry, either from a channel partner, either from a digital source, whatever it is. Okay, from the time he goes to sales, and then even post that, post sales. Okay, so even when a post sales guy interacts, there is an entire history that I can see, I can gauge, what kind of a person he is. I get a fair understanding when I what it does is that at every stage it empowers people with certain amount of information. Okay, and what information does is information gives power. Okay, when a sales guy interacts with a customer with more information about him, his pitch is stronger. When a post sales guy probably knows what are his likes, dislikes, hobbies, and gifts him those things, suddenly there is a liking that that guy develops for that post sales guy. Okay, but for all this thing, only most important thing that is there is having a robust CRM, which gives that information, throws up that information at every stage. Now the future state. Okay, now the first bucket somehow with the data security norms are not possible. However, we had earlier started exploring that. Okay, where probably getting a entire social demographics of that person as soon as the lead hits the pre-sales level, so that the pre-sales guy kind of gets an understanding as to what kind of person that guy is. It then moves to dynamic scripting at the sales level. Once I know I'm able to slot a particular customer, their customers will be bucketized. I will do individual scripts for individual customers. Okay, then comes at the last stage where having very robust propensity models. Okay, like in banking we had recency frequency kind of model where you know exactly what is the likelihood of him or her purchasing. Okay, when are they most likely to purchase? Okay, but all this is only possible if I have data residing in the system. Okay, now unfortunately, with the current data security norms of Facebook and all, we are not able to do the first aspect. However, we are in advanced talk with some of the guys where we are able to ensure that we get some AI bit at a lead stage, so that when it flows into the system, uh, uh, we have more intelligence around it. When I go back to that customer, okay, I exactly know which is the time period I should go back to him after. It's like if he has come into my system, probably he's more likely to respond to my query if I approach him after 7. Okay, how will I arrive at that? Looking at his behavior. Okay, I will have I will probably approach through multiple channels. I will understand which is the channel he's most likely to respond to. Basis that, for that particular customer, I will ensure that that person is slotted against that channel. So I will not go spread myself thin, targeting him through various channels, because I know this is the channel he will respond to. Okay, so there are these things that we are putting. So having a very robust CRM system is very, very critical at a small and medium scale level. Probably, even if you are able to get the step one right, where you get a proper lead in through pre-sales, then it moves to sales and post-sales, I think a lot of your hassles will probably get addressed. Okay. The last one is while I have told you the entire framework, how do we kind of push the envelope further? Uh, in real estate category, what we have observed is that there are a host of developers. If you enter a market like Pune, you will see that every second hoarding is by a real estate developer. So you have to ensure that how do you kind of differentiate in that clutter? Okay, we have done that in multiple project launches. We have ensured that we will try to do something differently. Okay, just to give you a very small example, recently when we did a township launch, Vanaha, okay, we sold about 500 600 odd units in the launch phase. When we hit sustenance phase, we wanted some momentum. We kind of tied up with Amazon Prime for one of their leading shows, okay, which was topping the charts, which is Family Man. And we kind of did a very customized product placement for Shapoorji Palonji Vanaha, and that kind of gave us very good response. We got about some 3 million odd views for that. And what it did is that in a market where everybody is striving for attention, suddenly you are being spoken about. Okay, suddenly there are large developers calling the partner and asking, saying what were the commercials, we would like to do that. As a marketer, okay, if you are able to do that in a very, very sharp way, and you are able to create talk worthy content, okay, I think half the job is done. And it is paramount that such things are done, and you push yourself, you push your team down the line, saying that some things you have to do differently. Okay, while 90% of what we do can be conventional, that 10% is something we should ensure that we go unconventional, ensuring that you bring out your product USPs in a certain manner. And that is what will make all the difference. Okay, not many people or not many developers real estate in real estate category do that. Okay, and somewhere we are very comfortable looking at the ordinary. And that's why in real estate category you'd see very less innovations, both in product as well as on the marketing side. Okay, so we in our team at least ensure that in whatever we do, we will ensure, at least for the big product launches, we will ensure we'll push the envelope further. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this session. I'm now open to Q&A.
I'm ready with the questions.
Yes, yes, please.
So one of the first questions we got was, no, firstly, I'd like to congratulate you and tell you that it seems that you know the consumer buying behavior better than the consumer himself, and we understand that how difficult it is and how much deep diving it takes to understand that, and we can see that you've done that, and you and your team has done that, and congratulations for that. The first question we got is that the project life cycle is very long. In a medium-sized project is about 3 to 4 years. In a large-sized projects that you all do, it's about 8 to 10 years. So, how does the media mix change across the life cycle of the project? Can you throw some light on that?
Sure. So, what happens typically is that in the initial phases, I said that there is a lot of surround that you have to create because you have to establish that project. Okay. If it's a new market, you have to establish the brand. Okay. So then in that case, the media is slightly skewed more towards the surround aspect. And why the surround aspect? While 60% business will come through channel partners, what typically happens is that when I indulge in surround, it also benefits the channel community. The channel also gets activated. Okay, so in the initial phases, my budget, 60% of my budget is skewed towards the large format advertising. After that, it kind of the whole objective is that I kind of taper it down, but towards the end it's somewhere around 25 to 30%. Okay. However, as you know that today real estate advertising has really changed a lot. We typically have mini launches, okay, in a large format development. If it's a very large format development, like we have some 400 odd acres in Pune. Okay, now what happens is that I would break that into multiple phases. Okay, for every phase I would have a surround, which is where 50 to 60% will be deployed in conventional mediums. Okay, however, when I hit the sustenance phase of that particular phase, my ratio of digital spend will be anywhere between 60 to 70%. Okay, and that is how it kind of reverses. Okay, the other bit is that as my development progresses towards delivery, referral and loyalty starts kind of picking up. Okay, as I said that in the initial phases, it is anywhere between, the starting point is about 10%. The share goes as high as 30 to 40% if the development turns out good, if the phases are on time, all those things. So all these things really matter. Have I answered your question?
Yes. I think that the follow-up question to that was that how do the spends change across the life cycle? How much do you spend on launches compared to sustenance vis-a-vis the different media? So I think you answered that.
Yes.
Fairly first answer. So the second question we got is, you spoke about how you do like a survey or like a market study even before you design the product. Like how you reached out and you figured that the market, they don't have time for their kids, and they would be a product that where the kids can have place to play will be appealing to them. Has it ever happened that you realize that that the product that you suggested was not accepted, and now you're suggesting to change the product? And how do you, in terms of department wise, how do you communicate that with the design department? Is that a conflict sometimes?
So very nice question. I mean, to be frank, fortunately for at least SPRE, in SPRE, we are open to experimenting. Okay, we are slightly bolder in that aspect, and management is very supportive even if we go wrong. Okay, fortunately we have not gone wrong at a larger positioning level because it goes through multiple level of filters. Okay, the partners we work with are also working with some of the leading developers, so they have a sense. Okay, they also chip in if the direction is slightly awry, if things need to kind of fall in place again. So at an overall level, that doesn't happen because there is a 3-tier 4-tier process before the product finally sees the light of the day. Okay, where issues happen is that typically the mix. Okay, and it might sound funny that despite of all the research that you do, Okay, when you have more 1 BHKs, somehow there is a demand for those 2 BHKs, or when you have two large 2 BHKs, you will always have demand for the smaller 2 BHKs more. Okay. However, what we have seen, and it is across products and across brands, that while there is a certain offtake for a certain product in the initial phases, as things move ahead, okay, eventually once that particular, so to give you an example, if there is a large 2 BHK and there is a small 2 BHK, while in the launch phase the best inventory has kind of knocked off, okay, and 2 BHKs have moved out, 70% have been moved out. Okay, what we do is that at a communication level, I start pitching the smaller 2 BHKs. Okay, and that kind of then kicks in. And the moment that the larger ones are not available, automatically the core development is good. Okay, the consumer is sold onto the development, and then automatically in the next phase, the other one starts picking up. Okay, that's how we tend to do it. Once we reach about 40-50% of sales, then we open the new tower, in which the learnings of this tower have been factored in. Okay, and we try to get the mix right. That, and as you said, the 4-5 years is a life cycle, so that is a good enough time to course correct, and there are enough takers for real estate. So there are, if you have a requirement for probably larger apartment, I'm sure there are other guys who are having a requirement for smaller ones. There are guys who are having a requirement for rooms with study, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the list is endless. You just have to have some patience, and very sharp targeted inventory focused communication needs to be done in the subsequent phases, so that that particular inventory moves. That's how it is.
Another question that which is specific to that Hadapsar launch. What this the industry at large realized is that you were able to get a premium, and a substantial premium over that market. So neighboring projects were selling at say 30 lakhs for a 1 BHK, and you were selling a similar carpet for about 37 to 40 lakhs. Correct. So, considering your overheads as a larger real estate player, your costs are even more than a medium-sized developer. So, how do you battle that within the organization? How do you make sure that the customer is accepting that premium? And that's again, I want to say that that's one of the biggest myths that you have busted. That बड़ा सेल करना है तो रेट तोड़ना पड़ेगा. So that's which is amazing. And how do you make sure that the customer accepts it?
So I would give a lot of credit to the sales head over there, Abhishek Bhatkul. He is the one who has actually been instrumental in doing this, while we have supported him equally. Now, what happens is that, as I earlier said, there are a few dynamics in any market. Okay, now if you look at that particular catchment area, there are not many large developers present over there. Okay, if you want a good project, you have to go slightly travel 15 to 20 minutes closer to the World Trade Center. Okay, now what happens in that case is that that market was highly underserved. Okay, when we kind of did our market research, what we realized is that the feelers that we were getting is that since that market was highly underserved, they were really craving for good product, but there was no such developer who had kind of stepped in. Okay, it's the classic example of glass half full or half empty. Okay, we kind of thought that it really gives a very good opportunity to enter that market and give them exactly what kind of products they want. Okay, fortunately for us, Shapoorji Palonji in the Western belt is very well known. Okay, and we have done very large developments. SP Infocity, we have done multiple projects, constructed large kind of projects over there, infra projects as well. Now, what that kind of did was that the moment the consumer got to know, okay, that such a large player is entering a market with a very large development, Okay, that kind of really created a lot of ripples in the market. Okay, and suddenly the local catchment guy saw a ray of hope. Okay, and what it did is that what we ensured is after doing a lot of research, we realized that the guy in the immediate catchment is not the IT guy. Okay, he is the local guy who wants to go in a development where he can flaunt. Okay, he needs to have a chip on the shoulder. Okay, so the idea of getting a premium lies in, can you give him that feeling, okay, of upgrade? Okay, are you really upgrading his lifestyle? And can, when he calls his four friends home, will they really be in awe? He's saying, boss, you have made it. And that is where the premium lies. Okay, and so right from the sales gallery to the entrance facade, we have ensured that they get the feeling that it is larger than life. Okay, and when they enter, we kind of have sold our what we have done in Pune. We have kind of now we are in the process of creating an experience center as to what materials we're using, all those aspects. What happens is that since the cycle is longer, you have to keep revealing one card at a time. Okay, every time you reveal a card, you kind of go, your perception slightly goes higher. Okay, so first you use a brand, then kind of give multiple facets of the product, then kind of give multiple facets of construction, and the journey kind of goes on. That's how you take the curve higher. And probably fortunately for us, when the market is not able to fetch a premium, we are able to get that premium, and that too in a very short duration. Okay, gone are the days in the real estate cycle when you actually see that the price momentum is there in a 6-7 month window. Okay, but we still managed to do that, and hats off to the sales team who has actually managed to pull that off.
Great, great. Congratulations again. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. I have at least another 8 to 10 questions, and apologies to everybody whose questions weren't, we weren't able to pull up. Okay, thank you, Mr. Pawar.
Thank you so much.
This is great, and thank you. And this is one of the very first of many interactions that I will be doing. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.